Okay, but could you tell me again why you could warp us all the way to Mars, but not all the way to the spot on Mars that you wanted us to go?
Wow, all week it's been nothing but are we there yet, and why couldn't you just warp us the rest of the way, and can we stop for a snack? It's just over this next hill.
That can't be the first time you've said that, though.
It isn't, just like it's not the first time you've said my feet hurt. Listen, it's gonna be worth it, you'll see. What did I tell you? Isn't MarsCorp HQ a sight to behold?
Wait, they have hover buses?
Again with the complaining. You know, by the time this trip is over, you're gonna be glad I did this.
Oh, and why is that exactly?
Because MarsCorp is up to something. They're always putting out press releases making them look so much better than Kaputko. But I smell a rat. Something just doesn't add up, and I think you're just the rhetorical analyst for the job.
Wait, you mean it? Hold on. Why didn't you just hire the rhetorical situation investigator?
Oh, him? Well, I feel like we kind of have a good thing going right now, and I didn't want to ruin that. Besides, he's really more of a rhetorical situation guy, and your niche is a little more jack of all trades. Plus, I know you do it for free.
Well, okay. I mean, I'd hate to have come all this way for nothing.
That's the spirit, bud. Now, listen, they can't see me in there, so I'm just going to wait outside. But we can still talk through the radio that I put in your pocket, so just keep me in the loop.
Oh, wow, you sure did. But hey, what loop am I keeping you in?
Oh, right. We had a week of hiking, and I must have forgotten to tell you. So, MarsCorp is lying. I just know that they are. So I want you to see what they're saying and catch them in their lies. See how they're twisting the facts or warping good reasons or whatever.
So it's a secret spy mission to look for bad logos that you're after? Yeah, I can do that.
Don't look so excited. Just get in there, and while you're waiting, you might want to explain what you mean by logos. You know, like pretending I don't know exactly what you mean. For the people at home, that is.
Yeah, sure. Well, I don't know exactly what I'm waiting for, but I guess we can talk about logos in the meantime. If you remember Aristotle's rhetoric, and who doesn't, then you probably remember that he divided rhetorical strategies into three broad categories: ethos, pathos, and logos. And a while ago, we talked about pathos, which deals with emotions and the ways that people can exploit your emotions in nefarious ways. This was another one of those things Aristotle talked about. Rhetoric can be used for good or evil, so it's important to know how it works so that you can protect yourself from other people misusing it. But logos is interesting because it can be exploited and twisted just as much as emotions. And that might be surprising because we often talk about wanting just the facts or believing that just having enough information about something will be enough to set everyone straight. When it comes to facts, logic, and reasoning, we often assume that those are trustworthy all the time, and that emotions are suspect all the time. Right? I mean, give me the facts without any of that emotional stuff. It's because of that, though, that you probably want to be especially alert to manipulative use of logos. Most people are already disarmed. They're already thinking that things that sound factual are true, which makes the facts and manipulation of the facts a prime tactic for rhetorical wrongdoers. So I guess we're going to be on the lookout for MarsCorp's underhanded attempts to make falsehoods look reasonable. But before we go in or whatever, I do want to emphasize that when we're thinking rhetorically, we're really thinking about what is and isn't reasonable. People like philosophers and scientists have historically given rhetoric grief for not being strictly logical or rational, and they're right. The standard for rhetoric is not some kind of strict logical rationality. The standard for rhetoric is to be reasonable. For example, it might not be rational for someone to have a fear of spiders, but it's perfectly reasonable not to make a black widow the logo of your baby blanket company. It is illogical to object to having an embroidered spider on a blanket near your baby's face, but it's also totally reasonable to pick a blanket with sunflowers instead. Rhetoric isn't a tool that's aimed at trained specialists. It's aimed at regular people like you and me. We're not running every idea or thought through the formal tools of philosophical logic, and we shouldn't be either. Instead, we're interacting with a flurry of messages every day and just trying to decide which ones make sense, which ones are reasonable, or which ones check out. In other words, we're not looking for outright lies and falsehoods. We're looking for ways that people can make something that isn't quite right sound reasonable. So our goal is not to turn ourselves into insufferable, well-actually machines, but instead to get better at questioning what we hear and making sure that dangerous ideas aren't being passed off as totally reasonable. And it looks like we're going to the first room, so let's see what they have to say.
To all our visitors from across the solar system, welcome to Mars. We have...
Oh, this stuff makes me sick, acting like their evil corporation is some kind of theme park.
I thought I was supposed to be listening, and now you're interrupting?
Don't talk. They can't know about me. Good grief.
But I thought you wanted me to...
Yeah, talk like you're talking to yourself or something, but not directly to me. If anyone asks, just say like you're on YouTube or something. Those kinds of people are so easy to ignore.
MarsCorp is proud to be built on the dreams of our founder, Doug Mars. But it's not just about boyhood dreams of doing business among the stars. At MarsCorp, we're dedicated to solving the everyday problems we all face, whether you're at home on Earth or more comfortable taking it all in from the rings of Saturn.
Don't you think they could get to the point? It's like listening to you, bud.
Maybe if you'd quit interrupting...
But don't worry. Unlike the competition, MarsCorp has a record to boast about. Well in advance of benchmarks set by the Galactic Business Bureau, most of our projects are on track to be almost fully antimatter neutral, likely by the year 2087.
There, that's something, right?
Yeah, but do you want me to talk about it?
Well, what did I drag you all the way out here for? Yes, of course I want you to talk about it. As if we all didn't know that the competition doesn't just mean kaput go. All right, Mr. Rhetoric Man, let him have it. But play it cool, remember? Like you're talking to yourself. Which, believe me, wouldn't be all that surprising.
Well, this sounds like a really good example of how people might try to bamboozle their audience with tricky qualifiers. We've actually done a whole episode on qualifiers. They're the kind of words that soften or limit the certainty of a statement. So you could say that ice cream is the best food, or you could qualify it by saying ice cream is probably the best food. Qualifiers have a valuable and important place in the language, mostly because they're a way to communicate genuine uncertainty in an honest and straightforward way. This is why scientists will say that their experiments demonstrate something rather than prove it. Proof requires 100% certainty. But good experimental evidence, while not a guarantee, is still probably enough to go off of reliably. And qualifiers can also be a good way to prevent unnecessary bickering about stuff that doesn't really matter. Say something about poetry in general without sufficiently nuanced qualification, and you're bound to have someone in the comments miss the larger point while they wave around the one poem they know of that works in a different way. Absolute certainty is rare, so qualifiers do a good job of showing us where the boundaries of our knowledge lie. However, unscrupulous people can use that uncertainty to make their position sound a lot better than it really is. Like that statement we just heard, well in advance of benchmarks set by the Galactic Business Bureau, so there's an opener that tells us that MarsCorp is doing something even better than minimum regulations require. Most of their projects are on track to be almost fully antimatter neutral, likely by the year 2087. Just look at all those qualifiers, most, almost, likely. I mean, how many projects is most? At a minimum, anything above 50%. So it may be true that most of their projects will be antimatter neutral. The word most still leaves a lot of room for a ton of projects that aren't. It's like true story when my middle school orchestra did a concert at another middle school in the district, and they had a huge banner over the stairs that proudly touted, "Most of our students are drug-free," with an asterisk in fine print that said 63%. I mean, I don't know, but like having 37% of your students not be drug-free still kind of feels like a problem. But there's more to this. That phrase, almost fully antimatter neutral, is pretty wild. Almost having something is the same as not having something. But then they add in fully to make it sound so much better than it is. It's like they're trying to craftily push the qualifier out of your head. Wow, they're going to be fully antimatter neutral? Well, yeah, almost. And then there's likely. They're not actually committing to anything. It's likely that they'll be almost fully antimatter neutral by 2087, but it's possible that they won't be. So what sounds at first like a bold declaration of their commitment to galactic sustainability is, once you really look at it, a wishy-washy non-committal pile of nothing. They've said a lot of impressive sounding things without actually saying anything at all.
And that's why, from the Grand Canyon to Valles Marineris, MarsCorp has your back. All visitors should remain in their seats until the lights go on. Once you've exited the theater, we invite you to peruse the MarsCorp Founders Museum and Gift Shop, where you'll find more fascinating information about our magnificent corporate history.
Well, we might as well check it out.
Yeah, keep digging. You're doing a good job so far, but you should also point out that MarsCorp shouldn't even be talking about the competition when it comes to antimatter neutrality. They're the only trans-solar conglomerate that even uses antimatter.
Oh, yeah, well, that does make it worse. And it's another tricky thing to watch out for. You're right. Not only does this sentence have some misleading qualifiers, but it also starts with a misleading comparison. When they say that they're making strides in antimatter neutrality, unlike the competition, that's going to make you think that other companies aren't doing as much to rein in their antimatter pollution problem. It makes MarsCorp look pretty good until you realize that they're the only ones polluting with antimatter, and that those regulations only exist for and because of them.
That's what I'm saying. People might think that Kaputko is a worse polluter, but we run only on clean alchemical energy and various other things, but not antimatter.
Right. Clean alchemical energy and various other things.
Hey, stay focused. We didn't come all this way to talk about Kaputko.
Sure. Whatever you say. Oh, actually, what's this? Well, look at this. It's a fun little infographic about the benefits of Mars Official Intelligence. Let's take a look. Oh, here's something about how well Mars Official Intelligence does on several standardized tests of, I guess, human intelligence? Okay, so it solves complex math problems 740% faster than human mathematicians with comparable accuracy. That actually sounds pretty impressive, but where does this asterisk go? Ah, here's the footnote. So it looks like the test worked like this. 100 humans were given a math test and they were timed. And the Mars Official Intelligence was given 100 attempts on the same test, and the fastest completion time was 740 times faster than the average of the 100 humans, and it looks like they only took the average of its top 10 attempts, which was comparable to the average for the 100 human mathematicians. See, you gotta read the fine print. Right away, you might think that those numbers show some impressive achievements of MarsCorp systems. But then, when you actually look at the research behind those numbers, you can see that they're not really representative of the truth. Of course, they're going to advertise their best data, but the rest of the data show that Mars Official Intelligence really isn't all it's cracked up to be.
And the board was worried that Mars Official Intelligence was going to threaten Kaputko's alchemical intelligence dominance. Amateurs.
It's almost our default to trust numbers and statistics. I mean, what could be more just the facts than cold, hard math? But deceivers rely on our implicit trust in numbers to pull the Martian wool over our eyes all the time. You can do any number of selective data manipulation tricks to get the numbers you want, so it's important to look more carefully at where they come from. Ooh, like this little comparative chart, for example. Here's the cost per query of alchemical intelligence on one side, and the cost per query of Mars Official Intelligence on the other. It really does look like Mars Official Intelligence is a lot cheaper to use, doesn't it? But don't be fooled. They're using different scales. The Mars Official Intelligence graph is marking off every $10, while the other is reporting every individual dollar. So it looks like MarsCorp's product is much cheaper to operate when it's really more costly. And to be clear, reporting costs in tens of dollars is a really strange way to do it, so that's a red flag. Anyway, believe it or not, I'm not really a numbers guy, so there are probably plenty other ways that the rhetorically perverse among us can twist the numbers to mislead you. But the larger point is that now that you know it's happening, you can be more careful about it. Don't just trust someone because they're throwing numbers at you. There's gotta be more though. Man, this MarsCorp museum is wild.
Tell me about it. That's why we have to dig up this dirt. Do they have their promise to the consumer posted anywhere?
Yeah, actually, here it is. Well, it seems pretty okay. It just kind of looks like a generic vision statement. They promise to always do right by the consumer, to keep quality high and prices low. They're one of the last companies, they say, to be truly pro-customer.
Okay, sure. Yeah, seems reasonable enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's not strange that a company would say something about their commitment to their customers. Why did you want me to look at that?
Well, I've got this one. You could call MarsCorp pro-consumer, couldn't you? They deliver adequate stuff at bargain basement prices, right?
Yeah.
But how do they do that? They source their goods from shady markets in the Kuiper Belt. Who knows where they come from? And they're only headquartered on Mars to avoid terrestrial labor regulations. They're selling their stuff for cheap because they're supporting black markets and exploiting cheap, unregulated labor.
Oh, I see. So this is a framing issue. If you take a picture of cheap goods, you could say that you're being pro-customer. It's reasonable. It makes sense to say that MarsCorp's low prices are indisputably good for the consumer. But you could take the same set of facts and frame them as being pro-black market or anti-employee. Of course, MarsCorp isn't going to advertise that they treat their workers terribly when they could just reframe it as doing right by their customer. As with all of these, really, we're not questioning the facts themselves as much as we're questioning the way those facts are interpreted. And that is a fundamentally rhetorical problem. Facts are facts, but what we do with those facts is what really matters. Bad actors really can't do much about the facts at hand, but they can and will do all that they can to frame those facts in a different way, or to change the way we interpret those facts in order to draw a more favorable conclusion. Which, by the way, isn't Kaputko headquartered in an alternate dimension? Like, aren't you also just dodging labor regulations?
Whoa, so all of a a sudden we're just going to assume that kaput has something to do with Kaputko, just because our names sound similar. Gah, critical thinking really is dead. But no, I can't claim any insider knowledge, but I understand that Kaputko's labor force is fully robotic, so labor concerns really aren't an issue.
Right, so you just replaced all your workers with robots.
Again, with the acting like I'm making any decisions or have any official affiliation with them at all. Do you have any idea what a conflict of interest it would be if I were on this show and the founder, owner, president of Kaputko International? I'd probably have to report that on a form somewhere or something, and we all know I've never signed a conflict of interest form.
Well, there's more than one reason you might have never signed a conflict of interest form, bud.
Oh, totally unrelated. How did you like those 2 units of jar of air that you got in the last one of these we did?
Oh, I guess they were fine.
Wow, typical 3-star review for a product that came exactly as advertised. That's the last time it's the last time they try to hook you up with discounted product, I bet.
Okay, sure. Hey, I'm starting to get tired of being here. Do you think they have a MarsCorp snack bar? I hear their Marshmallow Dream Bars are really good.
Sure, if you want trace amounts of antiprotons zipping around your colon, come on, focus.
Whoa. This place is actually kind of amazing. I start thinking about a snack bar and one just opened up in the wall. I think I'm going to go in there.
Do not under any circumstances go in there.
Too late, bud. We could have stopped for snacks on the hike in, but you just didn't let me.
Welcome to the MarsCorp snack bar for filthy corporate espionage rats. We understand you're here on behalf of Kaputko International and that you have orders to paint MarsCorp as some kind of evil corporation. Of course, MarsCorp reminds you that we do not have a skull in our logo.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know what I just wanted a snack. Do you have any Marshmallow Dream Bars?
Of course we do, because MarsCorp is your one-stop shop for all your deepest needs and sweetest wants. But we do have a strict no-radio policy at the MarsCorp snack bar, so we've taken the liberty of jamming all outgoing and incoming communications for the duration of our short presentation we have prepared for you, while we bake up a fresh batch of Marshmallow Dream Bars just for you.
Forget everything I said. You need to respond. You need to respond right now. Are you there? Hello? Oh, this isn't good. I've got to think of something.
Kaputko is quick to claim that MarsCorp has a dubious criminal record, but we are proud to point out that none of the MarsCorp leadership team has ever been convicted of serious wrongdoing. And while we would never stoop to Kaputko's level, let's just say that those who live in glass houses should be pretty careful with their projectiles. We're sure Kaputko's legal team is very well compensated for the hard work they must be doing around the clock.
No, this isn't the time for the extraction team. Don't let them bait you into causing a trans-dimensional incident. Just be patient. What's the worst they can do? As soon as they lift the jamming signal, I can just pull them out. Yeah, that's it. Just wait for the first sign of radio static and then heave ho.
And that concludes our brief presentation on the dangers of corporate espionage. Have you learned your lesson?
Sure, yeah, but there was talk of Marshmallow Dream Bars.
Yes, of course. If you promise to be a good little boy, we'll lift the jamming signal and radio for the kitchen to bring in your reward.
Oh good, I can hardly wait. Bud, where are we now?
That can wait. What did they say? What did they do? Are you okay?
Wait, you actually care about me, don't you?
No, I just want to know if you got any more dirt on them or if you're all brainwashed and useless to me now.
You know, they were about to give me a snack.
Did you or did you not get anything else from them?
Fine, yeah. They told me that none of their executives have been convicted of serious wrongdoing, which is, I'm sure, factually true, but it kind of seems like it's only partially true. Just because you've never been convicted, that doesn't mean that you weren't accused or that you weren't guilty. You can do something wrong and not be convicted of it. Kind of like that one time in 7th grade English that I forgot to do a homework assignment and I told my teacher that I just didn't have it with me and asked if I could bring it in tomorrow. It's true that I didn't have it with me, but she didn't need to know that it's because I hadn't done it. It's true, it's reasonable, but it's not the whole truth. You can do some pretty tricky things when you're only telling part of the truth. Now, isn't that true, Mr. My lawyers are working around the clock?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, they told me Kaputko is just as dirty, if not worse.
Oh, is that what they told you?
Well, no, not really. They more so implied it. And yeah, that's another bad thing you can do. When you can't actually say something because it's just not true, you could try to imply it, and if it's reasonable enough, your audience will bite and nobody can actually point a finger of blame at you for lying. I guess they didn't actually say that Kaputko was dirty, just that people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, and then they said that your lawyers are probably paid really well. So that implies that Kaputko has a lot of legal troubles, but an implication isn't necessarily the truth.
No, it's not, but don't worry about it. As as long as you can see through the manipulative strategies they're using, which was the whole point of what we did today.
Yeah, but really, where are we?
Arizona.
Bud, why are we in Arizona?
Well, I had to get you back to Earth, Bud.
But Arizona? You know that's not even anywhere close to where we live.
Oh, sure it is. It's just a short walk. Home is just over that next hill.
You and I both know that that's factually untrue.
Yeah, but we didn't really get a chance to talk on Mars. If I could feel lesser emotions, I would almost feel bad about that. So let's just walk and talk and enjoy the journey.
Can we at least stop for a treat along the way?
Sure thing, Bud. Whatever you